Hello everyone. In this video, I want to speak about something that I think is pretty much always right in front of us, but we tend to miss, an essential inspiration and truth about astrology. It's very easy to move into looking at the natal chart, reading charts, looking at the chart to understand different facets of our life, while forgetting a sort of assumed teaching that's underneath all of that. The fact of there being a natal chart, the fact that the chart actually says something about our inner experience and our outward experience. In fact, if we go deeply, the fact that it sort of points to the unity of the two. The fact that we can look at the natal chart and understand the deeper psychological dynamics and actually point to what's going on as a soul, what's happening underneath the surface. To be seeing phenomenal experience within time and space, and to be pointing back to a deeper awakening process. Just the fact that we can use the natal chart in that way can offer a space for sort of compassion, gratitude and appreciation for the holiness, for the depth, for the meaningfulness of this life. This life is not easy. There are good times, there are bad times, there are times where things feel like they're flowing, and there are times where it feels like it's not, and it's difficult, and we're all faced with challenges. And in a sense, the evolutionary journey has a quality of confrontation to it. As we grow, as we realize more within, we're going to face those very places where we have the most fear, where we are not conscious, where we don't yet see clearly enough. And it isn't comfortable usually. And yet just the fact that we can actually read these archetypal dynamics in the chart, wherever we go is where we take the chart with us. These dynamics are manifest. When the transits are happening, which is every moment, it's interacting and relevant to our own natal imprint. There's constantly a reflection relative to what's unfolding, what's being realized within every moment of our lives, everywhere we go, in every relationship we come across. Synastry, the interplay between two charts, are always a pure reflection of our own inner dynamics. There's a sort of mathematical and consistent perfection, and thus beauty, in the consistency of astrology. Our interpretation of it is very much conditioned by the depth of our comprehension of self, of reality. I always say we can look at the natal chart and read it on a very superficial level and not really give a lot of thought to it. Habits, challenges, gifts, preferences. But the way that I do it, and many of you who are drawn to this work also resonate with this way of thinking, looking underneath that, what's the intention? What is it pointing to? What is it saying about what we're realizing and remembering? What's the reflection offered in every encounter and every experience? How is everything in my life perfectly, deeply, beautifully relevant for me, for my realization, for my remembering? So to carry this knowledge and this appreciation that everything is perfectly aligned and relevant to an internal process that's kind of behind the scenes, right? The natal chart is a map that points to it, but we have to live. We have to live this journey. We have to actually have our experiences. And studying the natal chart, working with the natal chart really does offer a potential portal into self-knowledge. Right? The deeper we go into understanding the natal chart and all life experience from an evolutionary perspective, to see what it's inviting us relative to our own growth. The more strong we become, the more strengthened we are to cultivate a sort of soul resiliency. To not be as defined by the challenges that arise, but to be able to, in a sense, come back to a very beautiful and quiet inner space, to look within. The natal chart has this beautiful offering to us. It can objectify our circumstances in the sense that it provides a sort of impersonal archetypal lens through which we can understand what's really happening underneath the surface. So it's easy to just forget that. It's easy to just get involved in, talking astrology, talking anything metaphysical in a sense, and to forget the profound relevance and holiness and sacredness to which it is pointing to. And that's why for me, in many ways, the study and the practice of astrology is a spiritual practice. It's actually a devotional practice. When I find myself forgetting that, there's something that it feels like there's something missing. When I return my awareness to this sense of gratitude and mystery and appreciation that this natal chart is pointing to something that's true, it almost gives me this greater space and vantage point to appreciate everything's okay. There's a teaching here. There's a healing here. This is all a part of it. In fact, there's nothing that's arising that isn't a part of it. Any perception of this shouldn't be, of course, is not an accurate perception, because it is. It's always a matter of what's a way of seeing this that actually serves. Really, all perceptions can be gauged from the point of view of, is it a helpful perception or an unhelpful perception? Not so much is it accurate, right? All perception is limited in a certain sense. But does it serve growth? Does it serve unity? Does it serve healing? Does it bring empowerment and clarity? Or does it further obscure and does it further cloud our vision? So this is just a little offering and reflection on my appreciation for astrology and my remembering of what it really offers. And that as we're studying, as we're practicing, as we're learning, and as we're walking this life journey, to appreciate that we have the natal chart to reflect back to us in purely objective ways, that there's actually meaning, there's purpose, there's potential embedded within each experience. And once again, the Essentials course begins next week. So anyone that feels that this course and the way that I teach and what I do, the essence of it is devotional. I call my work Heart and Soul Centered Astrology. I came to that about 7 or so years ago because I realized it's not just a soul-centered path. It's a heart and soul-centered path. I'm very devotional by nature, and for me, my spiritual practice, my orientation, in part, is devotional. It's about more of an emotional relationship to the journey, to the path, to the emotional experience of living, finding God in that, finding truth in that, finding healing in that. And so to have a deeper empathic, compassionate recognition, attunement to what is happening, that's not just purely intellectual, one where we can recognize the sameness of all of our journeys, the permeations of our journeys are all very different from one person to the next. Very different. No chart is the same. No two charts are the same. Everyone's soul journey is so unique, and yet it's all the same in the sense that underneath all the varied circumstances, there's an essential unity in our realization that the teachings are the same. We are all remembering the same thing. Getting there, it seems, in different ways. And so we're all reflecting these same teachings to each other. And really, we all have the same planets, the same signs, just arranged and organized very differently. Something I once heard Maurice Fernandez says, the only thing that, this is a paraphrase, the only thing that differentiates one chart from the next is how it's organized. And I love that. All the material, all the qualities, all the archetypes, all the teachings, all the realizations are sort of the same for everyone. So that's what heart and soul centered astrology is for me. That what brings richness to my work is grounding in that. When I meet with someone, when I'm teaching, when I'm in a session, to practice coming back to the appreciation for the mystery, for the beauty, for the holiness of this life journey. In a way, I often experience the field of being with a natal chart, be it a session or a class, as a sort of refuge from the world, in the sense how the world can often feel very real and difficult, and the challenges and the struggles can seem ultimate, right? But it's sort of a satsang. Satsang, as I understand it, is being in congregation with truth, coming together in relationship to a higher principle, where we get to together look at deeper meaning. We get to look beyond the immediacy of life as it seems to be. Take a step back and find the deeper wisdom in it. Find the deeper invitation embedded within all experience. And I'm so grateful for that opportunity. So I'm grateful to get to teach. And for anyone that's drawn to this way of seeing life, it resonates with this message and is drawn to deepen in your study of astrology, I invite you to check out the course. As always, the description is in the link below. The link is in the description below. And just before I close, I want to give an acknowledgement and a word of thanks to the paradigm of evolutionary astrology. I'm not making this stuff. This doesn't come from me. These teachings are not my own. They're not. What I'm bringing forward has been internalized. I've been chewing on it. I've been realizing it through my life experience. And in a way, heart and soul-centered astrology is its own expression of how I'm carrying forward this work. But these teachings don't come from me. I carry and I've been trained in this beautiful wisdom lineage called evolutionary astrology as taught by Jeffrey Wolf Green. So I just want to give honor and thanks to that. And I want to give acknowledgement to the school where I came from, the School of Evolutionary Astrology. You can find it, schoolofevolutionaryastrology.com. There's a free message board. That's where I've learned and trained and also helped other students for many years. There are many resources, many articles. And what I'm doing in this course is I'm translating these teachings internalized through my own journey in the ways that I've come to understand them, in the ways that I'm learning and practicing with them and applying them and sharing them in this heart and soul-centered way. So it's always important for me to honor where these teachings come from and to just give thanks for the lineage and what has brought me to where I am. Okay, thank you for watching.